Hey guys, Stephen here from Heresy Academy. This is part 6 and this is where we're going to work on our spawning. Where when I say spawning, I mean basically when if you die, you spawn back in. Later on, as we build up more of the level, I will set up like a checkpoint system and stuff like that. And obviously I'll teach you how to save the checkpoints. So as well, before I actually move on, make sure rename this one to be spawn particle, and to do ourselves a favour later on, I'm just going to make a folder down here, and this folder will be called prefabs. I'm just going to make 2 prefabs in here for now. I'll drag the def particle, drag it into the prefab folder, drag the spawn particle, drag it in there, and I'm going to delete them both from the game because I don't want them in there just yet. So what I'm going to do, first and foremost, I'm actually going to grab some of these. Let's think. Okay. Why are you doing this to me now? Right, I'm just going to duplicate that, drag it out. Duplicate that. Just one more. Drag them free. Just drag them out. Like, you want to line up the floor a bit more perfect, but what you should notice as well is the edge, the box glider doesn't quite work now. What you're going to do is go to your box glider, make sure you just edit it, drag it along. Make sure you keep doing this for any pieces you do. You can do is you can set it up so there's a box glider on each floor object, if that's what you want to do. So what I'm going to do now, I've got some more sprites I'm going to add in. So I'm going to open up my sprites folder, or the assets folder, add in my buzzsaw sprite and my sky sprite, drag these into my sprites folder, give them a few seconds to load in here. Usually it loads like a bit quicker than this, but it seems to go slow when I record the camera, or I record the screen anyway, so that's just how it is really, isn't it? When you do something cool and you go to show someone, it doesn't work. Oh, pardon me. Right, here we go. So it's loaded in. First and foremost, what I'm going to do actually is get the floor. I'm going to go over to UI and I'm going to add in an image. So it's going to create a canvas, an image, and an event system. So this image here, I'm going to, for starters, just change the image to be my sky. Oops, I want to do that. Go to image, change the image there to be my sky. And then what I want to do, assuming I get this right now. So I think now. There we go. Okay. So let's just imagine I've got this right. Perfect. Yeah, super. Okay, so what I've done is I've added in a UI image and I've changed the image to be my sky. So like this isn't going to be final. This is just for a placeholder in the background. And what I've done is I've changed the source image to my sky sprite. And then over here in the rectangle transform, I've chosen this bottom right corner, which is stretching horizontally and stretching vertically. And when I click that, you may have seen these anchor points move to each corner. So you still saw the image was the same size, but the anchor points were here, here, and here. So I changed the left, top, right, and bottom, changed them all to make sure they're 0. And this now is still set in the transform, which, as you saw, every time I changed one to 0, it either stretched the image this way, that way, and that way. So that's what you want to do to set up a background there. And I'm just going to grab my canvas and I'm just going to. Let me just check this now. See, now the only problem with this is I've actually lost my the game. So I'll just change this to background here. This is not fun, you see. I was kind of enjoying myself there. No. Well, that's just ruined everything. You're being serious. Ah, there we go, there we go, there we go. No, wait. Oh, this is absolutely ridiculous. No way. Okay, ignore that then, guys. What a dick. Oh, man. No, I have absolutely no idea how to do this. No, see, because it's the UI element, it's putting it across the whole screen. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to. Wait, I have an idea. Ha ha! Okay, there we go. Right, that was frustrating. I knew I could do it. Sorry. So what you just saw there was kind of like another epic fail for me. I'm kind of good at those. Try back to 2D now. So I've added in the UI image as you saw and set it up to a sprite. I've changed the anchor points to the stretch horizontally and vertically, and then you can see it took over the entire screen and it wasn't very good. I wasn't very happy. Going on to the canvas object, in the canvas render mode, it was set to screen space overlay. So I changed it to screen space camera, and then a render camera. I've chosen the main camera, and what it's done is gone behind everything now instead of in front. Now, if you don't have a camera set up, there's actually a warning that says if you what's it called? If you don't have a camera set up, it'll act as an overlay. So if I change this now, this is like ordering layer, just like a normal sprite now. You see, you may see me put it to -1 before. You can even put it to 0 and it will sort of work, but you want to make sure you put it to -1. That's making sure it's at the back. The sorting layer is just on default because we've not changed sorting layers. But if you go to your player sprite and find the sprite renderer, you're on sorting layer default and you're on ordering layer 0, so you're in front. So if you put this to -2, you go behind to make sure you're on 0. But we'll mess around with that stuff later on. So yeah, that's there. I just added in the background because I wanted to. And the other image I brought in was a buzzsaw sprite sheet. This was made for me for a different project, but we ended up abandoning it. Well, it wasn't really abandoned, it was just didn't get finished. We lost the artist, so I've just got a lot of art assets not being used. So I'm just changing it to a multiple image, change it to point no filter, and then click and apply and let it save, which is taking a bit longer than usual. Come on, if you're going to crash, don't do it today. I'm just going to Control S to save just in case. Open up the Sprite Editor, and as you see, you could trim it automatically, but you may see some issues with these, what looks like the spark effects from it, or shows emotion. Yeah, see, it's tried to pick these up as well. Make sure you revert back, and literally, I'm just gonna grab that and just drag it across. I'm just gonna grab this and drag it across, just roughly. Drag that across. I'm not going to try and align it perfectly or anything. I'm going to show you now how to do that. Drag it across. Because they're all supposed to be the same size, and like this is going to serve as a placeholder for now anyway. So Doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. Okay, so we'll just click on trim. You see it shortens itself. Click on the next one. Trim. Drops itself down. Trim. Trim is here on the top left if you can't see that. Click that one. Trim. 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 And trim. Okay, so I'm going to click on apply. As that applies, I'm going to back out of here now, because that's basically what I want to do in here, just set it up as all these multiple images. And just to make it really quickly, I could just drag one image now and just drop that in there and just set things up and show you how to do it, do the animation later. But I'm in the mood to do it, so I'm going to drag all of them, select them all, and drag them into the hierarchy. And what this does, it brings up this option here, which is saving an animation. So I'm just going to call this buzzsaw animation. I don't know what, is it called a buzzsaw? Pretty sure it is. Right, see now the size of it is like huge. So I'm going to go to my sprite sheet, and to make it smaller, let's say 250. Click apply. Might not be small enough yet. See, it's quite a big image again. This person's done 2048 by 1986 for the whole image. But yeah, I'm having to like even try doubling that. It's 500 pixels per unit. So that's one thing to consider, guys. Is if let's say you're doing it in Photoshop or wherever your artwork's coming from, try and consider the size when you make it to make it a lot smaller. Otherwise, you're going to import it into like your game engine, and then you have to scale everything, drop it down. It's not the world's worst issue, but in this case you want to be able to jump over it, so drop another 6. Oh, let's try 750. So like I said, we're going to want to jump over it, innit? So we still want to see the animation though, so let's hope we can do some work. Like I said, it's only a placeholder here. I'm just trying to show you how to set it up, so if all else fails, we'll just hand in our resignation for the day. You may notice as well, since we've added the background, that might be the trick there. Since we've added in the background, you can see the line underneath here where things aren't lined up properly and stuff, but we're not too worried about that at the moment. So I'm just going to drag this in. I'll hold down V and just drop the vertices so it drops it there. Now, just Control and S. You're going to click on play. You're going to want to make sure you can jump over it, you see. The animation sort of works, but you can't jump over it because you're going too slow. Yeah, the animation's a bit funky. So one thing to do for that really would be I'm trying to make sure it gets set behind what's the floor on. Yeah, so close off the floor, close off the player, go to the brush sheet there. In fact, tell you what, another way to do it. If you go to your floor objects, which isn't going to be really fun. You're going to select all your floor objects and you're going to change the order and layer to be ahead. Which is a bit of a pain in the butt, I know, but this is the way. Probably should have set it up earlier to do it that way, but I didn't really think of it, to be fair. Well, no, actually, it's not I didn't think of it, because I did. I remember saying, like, this isn't going to be permanent or something. But yeah, so I just want to select all your floor objects, ground, underground. I mean, to be fair, we don't really do the underground ones, but keep on going anyway, might as well, since we started. Just a bit more now. A little bit more. See, the way I'm doing these videos is like, I'm not sitting down and writing myself a full script of what to say like I'm reading you the news. I'm just going with it. So problems we face are real world problems. So change the ordering layer there to 1. So now I'm going to grab the buzzsaw object. I'm going to click on W there, make sure I can drop it down behind. Just a little bit. And I'm going to save it. I'm just going to see now if I can get it to play semi-decently. That's how it does the job, doesn't it? That's how it works. I may drop down the pixels per unit again just a bit more, because you know the image is massive. So yeah, because even if you think about it now, it's 2000 and something, but then divide that by 3, you're still talking quite a few decent pixels wide per image. And then you're probably working with, I don't know, maybe a 32-bit or a 64-bit pixel character. So that's where it comes to your game art, try and consider like your relative sizes and stuff. Maybe that's going to be too much now. Let's see. No, that looks alright. That looks alright. So like I said, we may edit the speed and edit the jump force a bit to make you able to jump a bit higher and move a bit quicker. Yeah, you want to be able to jump over it and move quicker. So I'm going to go to our player. What is our movement speed at the moment? So close my animator, I'm done with that. The rigid body, I want that. Close the box collider. Actually, I'm going to open the box collider because I just spotted something that I want to sort of check up on. Maybe it's the floor checking object as well. I'm going to drop this in because I saw that we weren't touching the floor, you see, so I want to make sure we do. Okay, so as you can see, as we're walking across, there we go. So what I've had to do, I've had to sort of change the box collider a tiny bit just so it sits up a bit more. Like, well, that looks like 1.5 pixels worth of this image, so I don't know how many units that would be. But I've had to take it up a bit, as you can see, to make sure the feet touch the floor. It's not a major thing, but I like to be particular. So that was an absolute pain because I didn't even do it. At least I know it's about 1.5 bits, so about there will do. Just so we touch the floor as we're walking along. So Control and S to save it. What was I going to do then? So now I can close the box collider, close the sprite render, I can close the transform. Go to the move speed, I'm just going to put that to 5. And we're going to keep messing around with these little values here, just to be, so I want to be able to jump over it, otherwise it's pointless having this object in there. Is that too close there, do you think? Maybe the jump power could be set to 18. This should do it now. So movement speed of 5, jump power of 18. There we go. Because I want to make it, possible to be able to see what's going on here now. Yeah, that's a decent jump. Yeah, I was just checking there because it looked like you're going through the ground a little bit, but that could possibly be because of the velocity and stuff like that, but that's fine. Okay, so we're getting there. Double click our buzzsaw. So what I want to add to this, I want to add a circle collider to it. This will become important because we're now going to get to natural spawning. So circle collider. and as you can see, it's not quite what we want it to be. So drop the radius and just drop the Y a bit, so actually increase the radius again. So basically like that'll do. 6.3, that'll do. And yeah, so it's around most of them. It's missing a few teeth, but basically, you know, if you're going to touch that bit, you're going to fall in anyway, so you might as well die from it. And underneath it doesn't matter, you're not going to go underneath it. So this is fine, but I want to set this to be an is trigger, okay? So Control and S for this, and let's think now. What else do we need? So we've got this, we've got the collider on that, collider on that. Okay, that's fine. So what I want to do now is we'll make 2 scripts for now. Yeah. So the first script is going to be the ability to kill our player. So what should we call it really? Hurt player, kill player, kill player. Call this kill player and load this in. Let it load in at the side there before we try doing something else. Right, that's good. And the next one, we're going to call it level manager or game manager. No, level manager. Keep it just for our level. Okay, so we call this level manager, and I want to open them both. So I'll just open. Let's see if one opens at a time or if they both open. I don't know. See how this happens. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I think I should have mentioned this at one point. Did I mention it or not? I don't know. I actually don't think I did, to be fair. I think I'll think about a different script. So, open this up now. There's the level manager. So like I said, I want to open the kill player as well. And I'm going to basically make it so I can reference the level manager in the kill player. So I can keep anything relating to killing the player in one script, but still use functions from the level manager, which will be our respawn. So, as well, this is where it comes in to be a bit handy as well. One more object to make. And I'm just going to create an empty object. And it's going to be like our spawn point. Let me just pause a second. Sorry about that. I had a visitor. I completely forgot what it was I was saying now. Right, so I've just made a spawn point. Okay. So I don't think I need to add anything to this. All I want to do is basically set it up here where I want to spawn. So to help us out now, I'm just going to change the symbol. I mean, I don't want to spawn there because if you consider the player's relative position is up here. So what I'm going to do is take the Y position here, so that's minus 2.54. I'm going to copy that and go to the spawn point. I'm going to basically set that to be there. The reason is, basically, you're going to die, and then you're going to return at your spawn point. Now, I don't want the player to fall from a height, so I don't want to put it to the top or anything. I don't want to put it here, because your player is going to spawn here. So, just for argument's sake now, your player is going to be there. You see? But if I keep the spawn point's origin point at the same height as the player, all you're going to do is fall that little few pixels when you spawn, sort of thing. Now, there will be a couple of changes that I'm going to make. Not in this video, I don't think. But we're going to use a coroutine, and because the video is going on quite a bit, I'm just going to try and get this done now, and then we'll work on other things a little bit later. So, in our level manager script, we want 2 public transforms, public float, be our respawn delay. But don't want to use that yet. No, that's for the coroutine. Tell you what then, let's go for 2 public transforms at the moment. So public transform, and one of them is the spawn point, and one of them is our player. Okay, that's how I write them, by the way. When I'm doing just the same object without any values, I just put them on the same line with the comma separating them. And I'm going to basically just set up a void here. I'm just going to call it respawn. And what this is going to do This is going to change the player position, so our transform is a player dot position. Rather than go transform dot position, I've already got the transform, so I'm just doing player dot position, and it's going to equal our spawn point dot position. Now, although I've put the height to be pretty much the same as to be the same as what the player is at now, so it'll only fall a tiny amount, we want to turn off our velocity. Otherwise, if you're running into one of them spinny blades, you're running, let's say your speed for somehow was 100, then you just you die and you set your position. You'll continue moving at that velocity for even for a slightest bit of time, like a second or half a second, stuff like that. It's still not right. So what I want to do is I want to get my rigid body, but there may be a few times where I'm going to try and reference my rigid body, so I'm going to actually set up a component up here. So I'm just going to go for private. I mean, I could just write rigid body, but I want to get you guys into practice here. So player rig for our rigid body. In the start function, I'm going to go for player rig equals get component rigid body 2D. So down here in my respawn, I want to go player rig. Then I want to get my my velocity, and this is going to be equal to a vector 3.0. Basically, like what it says here in the summary, shorthand for writing vector 3 0 0 0. What I'm basically doing is just, well, as you can see, setting everything at 0, neutralizing the values. So the velocity is nothing. There is no velocity when it starts. So basically properly resetting. Now, nothing's going to happen still because, well, that's all I've done is we've set up a respawn. We've not done anything else yet. Now, to go into my other script here, I won't be able to access my this void unless I make it a public void. So when I save this script, I'm going to go over to kill player. And to start with now, I'm going to make a public level manager, which is the class. Sorry, I need to learn to type sometimes. Yeah, so this is the class here, as you see, public class. So I've now referenced this script, and what I'm going to do in my start function, you may have seen this done in other videos, it's a decent way of doing things. You're going to do level manager equals, and then you're going to use a thing called find object of type, and the type is going to be level manager, the class. What this is going to do, make sure you do your parentheses because it's a function, it's going to go and search out for this. It's going to go and find objects of this, which will be our level manager script. So whatever the level manager script is attached to, which will be attached to our level manager object, it'll go and find it. That's what you need to do in the start function. We don't need to update yet, but we'll do later. We want to go for a void Ontriggerenter 2D. So Ontriggerenter 2D. And I'll just set this up. We'll just try and talk you through what this is. So when I said adding that circle collider onto the spinning blades, and I said make sure it is a trigger, the reason for that is because, for starters, if it's not a trigger, then the character or anything colliding with it will, they'll bump into it. They won't be able to walk through it. Now, you don't want to walk through it. It's going to kill you. But the point is, if you turn it off, if you hit it, you're going to get stuck because it's a collider against collider. But if you turn it into a trigger, you could walk through it or jump on it and land in it. But because of what we're going to do, we're going to basically, we'll set off the particle system there. Pretty sure I've instantiated, not instantiated that yet, so we can get to that afterwards. But I want to do that with the coroutine really, because I want to set up a bit of a delay to it. But yeah, so we make sure it's a trigger. Like I said, the difference is you could put an on collision enter 2D. But we're going to go with on trigger because that's the way we want to set it up. Because you don't want to get stuck to it like on the outside and then just die. So we should be setting up in such a way so that you can see that he died. But if you were just sort of edging towards it and you just touched it, you didn't enter it, you didn't move through it, you don't want to die, sort of thing. So what we're going to write in here, we're going to write collider 2D. This is going to give us the information of what's just hit it. So we want to call this other. And inside our function, our Ontriggerenter 2D, we're going to find out what our other object's name is. Now there are quite a few different ways to do this, but I'm just going to go with the relatively simplest one. So if other.name equals, and then what's the name? Did we do it with a capital letter or a single or lowercase? This is important, it's a capital letter. So it's a capital P. It's like I said, it's important to do that. I actually need a drink. What we're doing. There we go. It's important to make sure you get it right as you do all your references as usual. And now, this is why we've made it public. Level manager.respawn. So, what we're doing, like I said, if the object that collides with our spinning blade is a player, then it respawns. We'll call the respawn function and set it up at our respawn point. Now, you got to consider when we put in actual enemies and they walk along and they hit it, well, we'll probably set it up so if they've got patrol areas, so they won't. But let's say they wanted to chase after you or something and you ran and jumped over one, are they going to stop or are they going to run into it and die? You know, things like that. So we will be changing this a bit later on. So I'm going back now to Unity and I'm going to, you know, click on, let it load in. Then we could click on play, but we won't see any results. So we've got the spawn point there, but no need to worry about that just yet. The buzzsaw, I'm going to just rename to be buzzsaw. This wants the kill player script. And the level manager here, we need to create an empty object. Level manager. And this wants the level manager script. Now you see we want a few transforms in this first. So the spawn point, actually drag that to the spawn point, grab the player, there we go. Now if we go to, what was I thinking of, our buzzsaw, which is our kill player, drag the level manager into there. Although it's not necessary because it will find it. Go to the kill player, it's going to find an object of this type. So you can drag it in, but as a matter of fact I'm not going to because I want to show you. I click on buzzsaw here, you go to the kill player script, have a look at it, and then click on play. You should see it activate there where it will change the information because it's found it. There we go, it's found it on level manager. So I want to now start moving along. Yay. I'm going to touch it. Whoa, 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 whoa. There is no rigid body attached to the level manager game object. What have I done there now? There's no rigid body. Okay, I've made a mistake somewhere because it's asking me for a rigid body on the level manager. Why do I want to do that? Sorry about this. Hang on. Right, yeah. I completely forgot because I've referenced player there. What do I do? The player dot get component rigid body 2D. That's what we want to do. Sorry, not what's it called? Not get component because it's attached to level manager. So just save that and go back to Unity. That's where the issue lays. Because if you saw it spawn and it fell. Let's just move the spawn point though. We'll. Oh, sorry. Let the script load in. I'm going to drag it over here a little bit. Then we'll save this. Then we'll click on play. I'll walk into it. There we go, you see. So now it's very instant. And obviously you can jump over it. If you jump, whoa! Did you see that? We just sort of fell over. Oh, I haven't done the constraints yet. I don't know why it fell over, but one thing to go through is the player. Go to the rigid body here, go to constraints, and make sure you freeze the rotation on the Z. Otherwise you can fall over, it's rigid body. So yeah. Well, that's it for this video, really, because that's setting up the spawning. We're going to hit this object. So you can use that function, that respawn function now, for pretty much anything, really. Any object or anything like that on most game types. If you get shot and you want to reset something, rather than reset the entire game, just reset the position. I mean, obviously, if you want to reset the level, then do it a bit differently. But let's say you're doing it on a live system, lives, and you've got 3 lives, you want to reset. That's how you reset your position without having to reload the entire game. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I know there's some errors, but I'm not a perfect coder, so, you know, I get there though. I get there in the end. I get the end result. I'm just trying to go sort of off the cuff with things. I keep saying off the cuff. Where have I got that from? You know, just sort of rolling with it. And someone put the idea, I think, like yesterday in a comment saying they want to see a 2D platformer. So here we go. You know, I'm just sort of trying to make it up now. Like, I mean, I'm not making it up as in just lying to you. As you can see, it all works. But yeah. So subscribe, because I'm going to be uploading all these a bit later on. So when I say this now and you're watching it in 6 months' time, then obviously that was a pointless statement to make. So that's been that. I will see you in the next video.